Welcome to your Courtney and Aldrich Tax eOrganizer. We're going to give you an overview of it and walk through a sample. First, let's locate the email from Courtney and Aldrich. It will look like this. Click on the link to access the eOrganizer. You will be brought to a login screen that looks like this. If this is the first time using our NetClient portal, you'll be prompted to set up your username and password. If you already have a NetClient portal, you'll be able to log in and access your eOrganizer. If you've forgotten your password, well, just click on the Forgot Password link. Once you enter your username and password, you may be given the option of setting up multi-factor authentication as soon as you hit log in. If you have already set up multi-factor authentication, when you click login, you will receive a code to your phone. You will have to enter this authentication code to be let in. After logging in, you'll be taken to a screen that looks like this. John Q. and Jane L. Public. This is their tax organizer. Let's click on it. Here are some items to mention first. You can exit at any time by just hitting the save and close. It'll save your progress and you can log in and pick up later on. Also, always upload all your tax documents. These are critically important for us to properly prepare your tax returns. You can upload PDFs, pictures, Excel, or Word files. Just click the Add Files here or drag and drop the files in. Once you've done that, start the upload. The uploaded files will show up here. You can upload files as many times as you want while the eOrganizer is still open. Do not click the Send to Prepare until you are truly done, because once you click the to Prepare, it will send it one-way trip to us, and you will no longer be able to access your eOrganizer. Let's say you did send to prepare because you thought you were done, and maybe a few days or so later, you receive an additional 1099 in the mail. Well, what you would be able to do is log back in. It would take you to this screen, and notice there is a file exchange button here. This is where you can send us additional documents. You click on correspondence, hit the upload button, upload those files that came late, add it in, upload, and you're done. We ask you that you'd send us an email to let us know that you did that. That way we can always go grab the information from your portal. So let's go through this sample. This is the web questionnaire. You can answer questions pertaining to the tax year. You can go through these one at a time, clicking in a yes or a no answer. Perhaps you clicked the wrong button. You can just simply delete it and put the correct answer in. As you go through the questions, you may come across questions that you're not quite sure how to answer, or you're not sure what the question's actually asking. If that's the case, you can always just leave us notes in the Notes to Prepare section. Just click in the Notes to Prepare, make a note. When you do finally send to prepare, all the notes will also come with it. We could then read these notes and inquire further if need be with you. In the General section, you'll find personal information, mailing addresses, dependent information, and so on. We can see that John Q. Public, his occupation is Jack of all trades. Let's say he's changed his occupation. He is now master of none. You'll notice that the text has changed to black from blue. Blue text means it came in from prior year's information and has pre-populated these fields. Once it's changed, it will change to a black text, letting us know that you have edited it. In addition, sometimes you see these little question marks. If you click it, it tells you what the acceptable answers in that field are. Review the information and make any necessary changes. One thing to point out in the electronic filing section is that we can send emails to you when your return is accepted by the IRS or the associated state taxing agency. If you would like that, simply have to make sure there's a number 1 in that box. This is the payment section. Some of it shows quarterly estimated tax payments. Scrolling down, we see that the calculated estimated tax payments that were calculated last year are pre-populating here. If you made those payments, type in the amount you paid. Perhaps you paid a little bit more for that final payment because you thought you had an additional income. You can type in an additional amount. If you have state tax payments, the same principle applies. Perhaps you paid all these estimates just like this. In the income section, we're going to find W-2s. You can see that this has changed W-2, denoted by the S for spouse in this section. She works at ABC Company, Inc. This is the prior year information from the W-2. You can simply fill in the current year information in this section here. Let's say that Jane had another job as well, and she worked at XYZ Company. She'd be able to put in from the W-2 this additional information. But please remember, upload all copies of the W-2s, even if you do fill this in. In this section, we have interest income. Perhaps you have a bank account, a CD, or maybe in this case, John Q. Public opened a credit union account. You can place the actual credit union's name in here, but we're just going to use credit union for the name. And the interest he earned was $25. This is the interest income section. If you also upload the 1099 interest forms, we will be able to tell and properly ascertain whether or not these are in the right spots. John and Jane also have a consolidated broker statement. Their broker is Stocks for You. This is their account number. And here's the Stocks for You's FEIN number. Stocks for You, they earned a little bit of interest, and so you could put that in here for this year. And the dividends paid on the 1099 DIV form from Stocks for You can be input here. John Q. Public has an IRA that he had inherited. In this case, we can see number 4 is a death benefit IRA. John has to take minimum distributions out of this IRA, and so he is taking out $22.50 per year. However, this year, let's say John took out a little bit more. We can enter this information directly off of the 1099-R form. Also, John has his own IRA that he contributes to. And he's made some IRA contributions, and we will enter them here. John has paid $100 per month into his IRA, or $1,200 for the year. John also has a business. He's a sole proprietor. He is a jack of all trades. Over on the right, we can see the prior year information. This prior year information can help assist you in filling out the current year. You would simply go through and fill out the information in these areas. You can see what last year's was, and you can input the current year information here. If you have expenses that don't fit into these categories, there's a line for other expenses. Simply type in the title of the expense and how much it was. This is a listing of assets that had been purchased in prior years. In fact, this is equipment that John purchased January 1st of 2020 for $8,500. If the equipment is sold or disposed of, we'd want to enter the date it was disposed and if you received any sales proceeds for disposing of it. This section allows us to add new assets. If John would add a new asset or purchase any, he would enter the asset title here, the date it was acquired, and the price that was paid for it. We like to have additional descriptive items about it, models, serial numbers, things like that. It helps us to keep track when you have a lot of assets. John and Jane both have a duplex, and this is the address of that duplex. Here we find that was the prior year rent was $18,000. We can add in the current year rent and fill out the additional expenses. Similar to the business, there's also an asset listing. And since the duplex was not sold, we would simply leave this blank. Let's say that a new stove had to be purchased. Let's say it was purchased January 15th for $850. You could put the model, the make and model of the stove in here. The itemized deduction section contains things that could be deducted on your Schedule A. In this section, we're talking about medical and dental type of expenses. Simply enter the information, a description of what kind, and was it for the taxpayer, John, his spouse, Jane, or are these joint costs? Real estate taxes paid on the home can be entered here. John and Jane have a mortgage on their home. You could have your bank name here. John's is just bank. And the interest he paid this year, as compared to last year, we'll enter it now. This section is for charitable contributions. Last year, we have our amounts that were put onto these charities. This year, they're a little bit different. John and Jane added another charity, and they were both giving to it. Please remember to always upload the tax documents associated with all of the information that is in your return. W-2s, 1099s for interest, 1099 dividends for dividend income, consolidated broker statements that might contain a 1099 interest, dividend, and stock sales. Retirement would be 1099-R, Social Security would be 1099 SSA, IRA contributions, and IRA distributions should be uploaded as well. You can review all of your uploaded tax documents here. They would all be listed. Once you are satisfied that you have completed the tax organizer and have uploaded all of the tax documents, simply send it to the preparer. Once you send it to the preparer, we will receive an email and notification. We will then electronically retrieve the organizer and the attached documents. If you would need to upload additional documents after having sent it to us, log back into your portal, go to File Exchange, the Correspondence folder, and upload any missing documents we didn't previously receive. Send us an email that you did. We will retrieve those documents as well. Congratulations! You've completed your e-organizer.